Hey everyone, and welcome to this 15 Minutes Live. And today I thought I'll talk about some of the unwritten rules, some of the unwritten laws or rules or common sense. Sometimes it's just common sense that some people just don't adhere to. So either they just oblivious to these rules, or maybe they just don't care, they're just insensitive to other people. But life has got a lot of unwritten rules, and I think these are just what do you call it, these are just common courtesies in life, that we need to adhere to, that we need to look out for. It just shows care for your fellow man. It just shows that it's just being a good citizen. It's caring. It's being considerate. And I don't know. I'm just going to mention some of the unwritten rules, and these are rules that I live by. And I know that this may not be common to everybody, but I think as human beings, we do have a lot of these rules in common. Now, I do also understand there might be some cultural differences, there might be some regional differences, we might do things differently. And one of the things that, before I now go into my list of unwritten rules, and I see a lot in movies, for instance, and you might disagree, but maybe you can also list your unwritten rules and in the comments below, so I'll go through them and see if it's common or if it's something that's completely different or separate from the way I live and where I'm from. But one of the things that I constantly see in movies is that, and this is a big no-no for where I come from and where I live, and it's general amongst the people that I live with, is that in a lot of movies I see people either washing their hair in the kitchen sink, or they brushing their teeth in the kitchen sink. Sometimes they wash their pets in the kitchen sink, in the same basin where they do their dishes. Now this is a big no-no where I come from. It's an absolute no-no, that the kitchen sink is primarily reserved for dishes, where you eat from. It's where you eat from. So you don't do anything else in the kitchen sink. You don't do any washing. You don't wash your pet. You don't do your hair. You don't brush your teeth. But I see a lot of movies where this is happening, and it's acceptable, but not over here. So this is my list of unwritten rules. And I'd like to hear from you. What are the unwritten rules that you live by and that you comply with? So number one, and I think it's very common amongst youngsters, is when they have the earphones in their head. It's unscripted, it's unedited. So this is it. When they have the earphones, the earbuds in their ears, that I think one of the unwritten rules is, number one, if you're listening to music with your earphones, do not sing along. It's an absolute no-no for you to be singing along, because you're the only one that can hear the music playing, and now you're singing and everybody must hear what you're singing. And sometimes, when you have the earphones in your ears, you think you are singing, or you think your voice sounds good when it's actually terrible. So do not sing along when you have. Do not speak when you have your earphones, or when you're listening to movies or music. Do not speak, because automatically you raise your voice and you speak on top of your voice and you don't realize it. So speaking with your earphones in your ears is a no-no. Sing-alongs is a no-no. And I've come across this sitting on a plane, that someone would take out their laptop or their tablet and they would start watching a movie without having their earphones. And they would put the volume loud, and everybody around now need to hear this music or this movie. So playing a movie in public with the volume up or the volume on loud is a no-no. We don't want to hear your movie. We don't want to hear your music. Please keep it. Even opening social media videos and voice messages, it's a no-no to do that in public. It's a no-no to do that with your loudspeaker. Okay, absolutely unwritten rule. Hygienic. Let me go to hygienic issues. If you're in public or you're on public transport, you're on a plane, do not remove your shoes. Please, people, do not remove your shoes. If you're on public transport, if you're on a plane or a bus or a taxi or whatever, do not remove your shoes. Do not sit with your feet on the seat. Do not put your feet on the seat. Even when you're visiting at your friend's house or you're visiting someone, do not remove your shoes and sit with your feet on the couch. I think it's a hygienic issue. I don't think it's nice. So please do not. That's a no-no. It's a complete unwritten rule. Okay. Other hygienic issues, there's certain things that I don't share. What we call it lip ice, but it's also known as lip balm. It's something that I don't. Maybe I'll share with a family member, someone very close to me. But in general, I don't share because I think it's a hygienic issue. It's a complete no-no. Some of the common courtesies, I think, if you get into someone's car, do not touch their radio, do not change the radio station, do not skip a song. The car stereo or the car radio is off limits to anyone that's not the driver or the owner of the vehicle. Yes, if it's your kid, if it's your child, if it's your wife, your girlfriend, and you're always in the car. But if you get into someone's car, it's a no-no. Do not touch their radio. Do not interfere with anything on the dashboard. I think if you want to do that, you can ask, and the person says it's fine, you're allowed to do that, then okay, that's fine. I think it's a common rule, keep left, pass on your right. So maybe in other countries it's the opposite, keep right, pass on your left. So when you're walking on the sidewalk, you should be on the left in my country, and people should pass you on the right. And if you're going to overtake, you overtake on the right hand side. If you're in a mall, you're pushing a trolley, whatever, keep left and pass on your right. Unwritten rule, like I said, in other countries it might be the opposite, right? If you in a train, if you get into a train or you get into a lift or elevator, I think it's just proper that you allow the people coming off the train or getting out of the elevator to first exit before you enter onto the lift or the elevator onto a train. Once again, keep left, pass on your right. I think stay to the left or the right and let people first exit. And when they have exited, then you can enter the train or the lift. I think also for those who are exiting, I think it's always good either to keep the door open or just block the door so that those coming either behind you or those who will enter after you've exited, so that the door don't close on them. I think it's a common courtesy, unwritten rule just to do so. This is something that I'm struggling with my own family in my own household. Please, people, squeeze the toothpaste from the bottom. Okay, don't just squeeze it from the bottom. Let's get the content from the bottom up. It makes it easier, it's neater, the tube looks nicer, and you kind of guaranteed you're going to get all of it out. Don't just squeeze the thingy from the bottom and we push the toothpaste from the bottom upwards. Whatever my notes, eat the one. Okay. I don't know. This is I don't know. It might be different for other people, but for me, if I'm having, let me just use an example. If I'm having like a mixed fruit, maybe if I'm having like dry fruit, mixed fruit, or I'm having a box of Smarties, and I like the yellow ones, I eat the ones I like, I eat last. Okay, I don't know if it's the same unwritten rule for everyone else, but in a assorted or a mix of things, I always have the ones I like the most last. And I don't know, you guys can tell me, do you do the same? But that's how I am. And if I'm eating dry fruit and the peaches, I'll eat all the other fruit. I love peaches, and I'll have the peaches last. So eat the ones you like last. That is my unwritten rule. Do not speak louder when you have a bad connection. If you're on your mobile and you have a bad connection, screaming and speaking louder is not going to solve the problem, right? So I see this a lot. I see people on their phones and the phone breaks up, the connection is bad, and they automatically raise their voice and they start shouting. So unwritten rule, do not speak louder or do not raise your voice when you have a bad connection on the phone. It's just a no. Okay. Do not put an empty container back in the fridge. I used to struggle with this, and it was totally by accident. I didn't even realize. So you would pour juice, or you would pour cool drink, and you would pour the last in the container, but you so in another zone that you will put an empty container back in the fridge. I know a lot of you struggle with your partners, your children, family members who continuously doing that. I've overcome it. So it is now one of my rules that I will never put an empty container back in the fridge or in the cupboard or in whatever the case might be. If you borrow something more than 3 times, or for the 3rd time that you're borrowing something, I think it is a rule of mine now, and it's an unwritten rule, and I think it should become everybody's unwritten rule that you should not be borrowing something for a 3rd time. If you do that, it means you really need this item, so you need to get your own, right? It's time. And maybe this is for my brother, my elder brother. If you borrow something for the 3rd time, it's time to get your own. So I think just get the message. Okay, I've got a few more. Okay, I still have time. If you borrow someone's car, once again, this is for my brother, my eldest brother. If you borrow someone's car, or if you borrow anything from someone, I think return it in a better state than what you found it. So if you borrow someone's car and they have a half or a quarter tank, make sure you return it either with a half tank or just above half. I think it's just common decency. It's a common courtesy that if you borrow someone's car, either fill the tank or bring it back at the same level where it was, or even better. When you borrow someone's car, this is the unwritten rule. When you borrow something from someone, return it in a better state than what you found it. Okay, I'm running out of time. I'm going to go through a couple more. Never borrow something for the 3rd time. What is this? Don't steal someone's moment. Complete unwritten rule. Do not steal someone's moment, right? If someone has a moment, a birthday party, or they have a moment where the focus are on them, do not steal their moment. I've seen a lot of people, proposing at a wedding. They are at a wedding, and now you proposing at someone else's wedding. It's like stealing their moment, right? Do not steal people's moments, right? Let them have their moment. Let it be their happy time. Let the focus be on them. You don't do anything to steal that focus away. Do not direct that focus away from the people who's having that moment and try to make it about you. So I think that's a very, very good example. Do not propose at anyone's wedding. Do not steal anyone's moment. Thank you, people. That's my 15 minutes live, and goodbye.